So, I heard you were interested in learning how to create your very own graphs on the internet. Don't worry, I have just the right tool for you to use for homework assignments, projects, and just for fun at the tips of your fingers. And it's easy to use. But just in case you need a little help or some useful pointers, this recording will be available to you to demonstrate and navigate how you can use my favorite graph making website whenever and wherever you may need the assistance. There are thousands of resources available throughout the internet to help students make graphs. Any one of these can be accessed by going to Google. So we'll go to Google right down here and typing in the search bar, Graph Maker. My favorite site, the first one that is listed on this page, is created by the National Center for Education Statistics, or NCES, and the website is just for kids. So if we would start by going to the home page here, we see that the NCES has a great introduction page. It offers daily information that is changing for students to learn fun information and engage themselves on this website on a daily basis. So we have This Day in History, which offers a fun fact about today, October 22nd. So in 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis began. That's very interesting. We also have Mind Benders, student polls, the word of the day, the quote of the day, and other things like that, just to get students into the website and doing things interesting and educational. But let's say we were interested in creating a graph. So we would go to the Graph tab at the navigation bar there on the top. And as we know, there are a handful of different graphs that we can use for different types of ways to present different types of data. With the Create a Graph Maker, we have the opportunity to experiment with 5 different graphs to create the visual representation we're looking for. So as you can see here, we have the bar graph maker, the line graph maker, area graphs, pie graphs, as well as the XY graphs, which would be really useful for algebra students. If you go over to the sidebar here, as we're creating the bar graph, which we will be making today, you will see useful information. It's kind of like a step-by-step tutorial that comes up here telling us how to kind of navigate the bar graph and which information should be plugged into each different thing that comes for us to put data into. And then we also have examples here. So if a student would ever forget, oh, what does a line graph look like, or what does a pie graph look like, it comes right up here. So we'll see a line graph. Ta-da! And we have a line graph. So we're going to create a bar graph today, like I mentioned. And a bar graph is great for categorical data. Let's say we're trying to find out what a group of people's favorite ice cream flavor is or their favorite cookie. Today we're going to be finding what somebody's favorite colors are and comparing those on a bar graph. So the situation is, Allison surveyed 20 of her closest friends to determine what their most favorite popular color was. Now, Allison wants to put her data on a graph. So obviously we're going to start with a bar graph here. Now we have the option to make the graph vertical or horizontal or 3D. I'm going to make it vertical because I think that one looks best. Then we have the option to change the shape. We can do a rectangle, rhombus, cylinder, a pattern, or a triangle. I'm going to choose the rectangle because that's just standard. And then we can change the background color, grid color. You can make it a 3D graph or a 2D graph. I'm going to keep it 2D for now. So that basically just sets up what our graph is going to look like. Then we go to the Data tab here. And as I mentioned before, maybe a visual will be a little bit clearer to explain this. So graph title. It's basically telling us what we would put into our graph title here. It's going to appear at the top of the graph, and it's going to describe the graph. So our graph title is going to be Favorite Colors, and our x-axis label is going to be colors, and the y-axis label is going to be total number of friends. And then the source, which appears at the bottom of the graph, it can be used to give credit to the author of the data. So the author of the data would be Allison, because she did the survey. So we have here, our data set consists of one item. We only have one variable, which is color. And then we have 5 different colors that came up in our survey. So we can label each one of these groups as the different colors that they are. So we had a few people say red. We had some people say pink. Oops. Allison had some friends say yellow, purple, and blue. Alright, so now you have the opportunity to change the color of the bar of each graph. Now it's very convenient for us to create the red bar in a red color. Makes it much easier for the reader of the graph to understand. Pink will be pink. Yellow, it's already yellow. Purple. Right there. And then blue is already blue. And then our minimum value on the y-axis is going to be 0. And our max value, we're going to make that 10, because I don't think we had any responses greater than 10. And then underneath the values here, we can input how many responses for each color. So we had 6 friends say their favorite color was red, 2 say pink, 2 say yellow, oops, 5 say purple, and 5 say blue. Alright, so if we continue over to the side here to labels, and this lets us even further customize our graph. We can change the font, we can change where the total number for each bar goes above the graph, next to the graph, creates a %. We're just going to keep it at value for now. Lets you change colors, font sizes, things like that, but we're just going to keep it all standard. When we go to preview here, we get a chance to look at the graph. And we see that red is the most popular color out of all of Allison's friends. We have a tie for pink and yellow and a tie for purple and blue. Now we are further able to go and print or save the graph to our computer. That's great for teachers to offer this opportunity for a class assignment. We can either start the graph new, erase it, or copy it, or we can even email it to a teacher or a friend or whoever. So that is basically how we would create a graph. This website also offers several other great opportunities for students to learn. We have quizzes here, and the responses that go through compare the student to other students nationally and from around the world. We also have the grab bag at the top here, and this offers other quizzes. We have a math quiz, an education quiz, a word search, fun activities for the students to do just whenever they're on this website. We also have chances, which kind of creates a visual representation of probability by offering visuals of rolling the dice and getting to see how many times a certain number could come up on a dice. And then we also have tools here, which basically is offered by the NCES, and it provides statistics for schools, libraries, and colleges throughout the United States. So this offers some great statistics for students to maybe put into graphs of their own if they don't have data and they just want to play around with the resources, things like that. But this website by the NCES really is great. It's easy to navigate, especially for children, and I highly suggest that you use it to create a graph, to play the games, do things like that. I appreciate you watching this video and learning how this website works, and I hope that you are able to apply it in your own graph making as well as navigating this website in the future. Thank you so much.